Hello, everyone. We hope you are having a beautiful week. For some, it is Holy Week. For some, it is birthday week. Or whatever time it is, we are glad to be here with you today. And when Mary and I were feeling into what we were going to talk about today, it was really about the things that are happening in the world and our personal lives. And the through line was that sometimes when you're doing the work, that's when you're under the most challenge, the spiritual warfare. I have a beautiful friend, and she is brilliant. Like her coaching, her mentorship, her energy work is all about working with releasing the dark. So I was going through something this week, and this was her text. She said, "Psychic attack from the dark, 83 dark entities with 700 waiting in line, 117 dark devices. This is a good sign." And like the good sign is like, I'm doing the work, I'm doing what I'm meant to do, I am showing up. And that's why there's so much focus from the dark. And we were also talking about that even if there is a focus from the dark, the challenges that come up, as Mary, her screen is showing us, there is always light, though. There's a through line of light, no matter what.
No matter which direction I go, what way I put the screen, there's like a rainbow, there's all these things going across. I was like, I guess it's part of the mix today. you know? The dark
Yes,
cannot exist without the light, or the other way, that mutual opposition.
yes. So when you're here to impact the world, when you're here to change the world, when you are doing the really deep seated work, both internally and to impact others, that is when the challenges come up. You know, there's the maxim that robbers don't break into an empty house. So if you're facing a challenge, know that, as my friend texted, that's a good sign. And he may be like, really? No. It doesn't feel like it's a good sign. Yet it's actually a signal. If you're being attacked, or if you're under a deep challenge in an area of your life or multiple areas, that means that there is gold there. That means that is where God will come in and transform it. Because again, if you're in our world, you're here to do big things. You're here to change the world. Like we're not like, you know, we
So
don't do
fun.
the 9 to 5, do a barbecue on the weekend and like two vacations, 2 weeks vacation per year and just kind of ride this life out. No, we're here to do the big work. And we've been challenged ever since we were children in different attacks on our lives, whether it's physical trauma, sexual trauma, challenges with betrayal, relationships, money, business, all of these places, there's challenge. Again, there's light, there's gold, and there's God. So, like, think about where you're being challenged. And that's what we're going to talk about today.
No, and I super love that. It's really a gift being in, like, right, we get to still experience life and everything like that. That is not something we escape. And honestly, being able to lean in and get curious and understand the darkness allows us to like dance with it. It doesn't go away, you know. It can't, the light can't exist without it. Rather, it becomes like an experience and something that we get to pour from than something that we're charged around. And it, and there's an ebb and flow in that as well, so I think there's always like a gentleness in just meeting yourself where you're at and like being able to be curious with it. But as was shared, like getting into this work and the shifts and the ripples that are necessary that we're making, it is not, we're in it. We're in it, and it's uncomfortable, and it should be. But then there's these beautiful parts, right? Like I got to go see a friend today that I've been working with, and and I got to share some of the hard things that have been going on and receive some counsel. And you know what? I got told that a different woman walked into that room, and I'm grateful, because of the work and because of the way that I continue to show up, I'm able to like present myself in a way that I wish to present myself in the world rather than off of those reactions, right?
Mm-hmm. And if you're meant to teach things, you have to grow in them even more. You have to expand your capacity. So let's say you teach around health or money or relationships. You're going to have the biggest growth in those areas because you need to hold it, that capacity and that embodiment within yourself, so that you can share it with others. Because if you don't go through that growth, you can't actually teach it, or you can't teach it in a way that causes real transformation because you don't embody it. You don't have that capacity. So, again, it's an acknowledgement that, again, if you've been challenged, if you're being challenged right now, and again, it's a continuous evolution, as Mary was sharing. Like, there are beautiful places that flow, and then there's like, boom. And then there's,
Where the hell did that come from?
yes, yes. And we acknowledge you for being challenged, because the reason for the challenge is because you have that within you. You have that awareness, you have that embodiment, you have that willingness to go through the discomfort to grow, that a lot of people may not have, because a lot of people would just kind of like to flow through life and just kind of get to the end and be like, it's been real, it was good, but if you really want to make the changes and if you want the world to change, there's got to be that shakeup. I mean, we see that in today's world. It looks super chaotic. It looks super challenging on so many fronts. Yet, that's what needs to bring it all up so that it can change.
Yeah. No, and when you're saying this, and the thing that is like spinning through my head is this whole like the 9 to 5 concept. I don't know why that just came into my head of this. So many people just stuck into these cycles and these societal pressures, and like that's literally we're changing that. We're not participating. We're doing something different, right? And in order to do that, like it's not like there's not fear involved, or there's not. It's like this smooth paved path without struggle. Shit, we don't have a 9 to 5. Like like we stopped those things and started reaching for what serves us and what allows us to be of utmost service to others, right? It's an adventure, and it's an unfolding and unraveling and this beautiful opportunity to lean into those wild freedoms that everybody, like, I mean, those desires, right? It's We create those into a reality, but it's through action, and it's through walking through and sticking in the process regardless. you know Transcendingly. It's not over is all I'm trying to say. There's not like an end point. You're not like, oh, I did it. But there are these beautiful transformations and growths and areas, and that forever reaching, and you get to do that by learning the tools to continue to lean in, you know?
Mm-hmm. And you use the word unraveling. I like that because, I've been talking a lot about identity, and like, do you actually know who you are? Because our identity is largely predicated on the culture we grew up in, the family, the religion, these days, social media, uh, corporate
Medical
culture.
labels, like all of the labels and titles and all of.
Exactly. So you have all these things. It's kind of like you put on all these clothes and you get some from your family and some from the religion and some from work and all these different things, school, all these things. And you're trying to figure out who you are, your identity. And as these challenges come up, it shows you these places where you've created an identity, or it was given to you, or you assumed one, or you absorbed one, or someone kept telling you you were this. So you're like, okay, I must be. They keep telling me. And when you're challenged, you then get to, okay, I'm going to take off that coat. I'm going to take off this because that doesn't actually fit. So that unraveling process, as the challenges come up, they actually show you where your power is underneath. The fear, years ago, and I've used this so many times, I had a mentor say, fear means go. So if fear comes up, it's showing you exactly where your power is showing exactly where the gold is. So if you have the fear, it's like, oh, there's something underneath there. Let's look underneath. Let's take that coat off, that sweater off, because there's something there for you to uncover, to unravel, to get to who you are, to get to be the identity that you were always meant to be, to live for yourself, to impact others, and to impact this world.
Yeah, no, and exactly. And the other option is, because I always like to let you know that there's other options out there, and that you don't have to do this, right? Or you don't have to do that work. But therefore, the pattern, right? It's like, so you've got this like kind of cool jacket that you kind of feel good in, but like that underneath part is what we're trying to get to, right? And if you're gonna, nah, I kind of like prefer to have like that cool jacket on because it feels good. Like, I'm not saying like there's no shame in that. Like, I like a lot of people do get comfortable and settle, and there's like a phenomenon in that for me. but like but really, take the jacket off, you know, like get curious about it, because I think that like it's okay to change your mind. Like, it's okay to have like one idea and then be like cool about it and like really resonate, and then be like, oh, maybe that doesn't work for me anymore. Like, maybe you really like Play-Doh, and then you're like, I love Play-Doh, and like smush it in the machine and stuff, all the colors. But then maybe you like got into like sculpting clay, and then maybe you're just like completely done with all that, and now you're like, I don't know why I went into arts and crafts, but we're crocheting now, you know? But literally, you're allowed to change your mind. You're allowed to be curious and adventurous in those things for yourself as well. Like in the darkness, it doesn't have to always be scary. um i I've found for myself some of the deepest, most tender points of love, like self-love, um for me, not needed from anybody else or anything outside, literally inner self-love from those darkest, deepest points. And I wouldn't even be able to experience that if I wasn't willing to just walk through a little bit with like my knees shaking, you know? Just, and so there's these really, like it's been shared, it's like those gold nuggets. It's not about like literal gold, like all the material shit on the outside. It's about being able to experience life in a living joy, you know? And that doesn't mean that you don't have like experience of the realm and the spectrum of emotions, because that is just the human experience, you know? But we get to become more of an observer in it all. And in these practices, it's so cool because it's like become this experience of like going in going from deep, complex trauma to where there's just reaction. There's not even a breath. There's nothing there. It is just boop, merry and volatile rage. You know? And I used to wear like a badge of honor. That's how my PTSD was for a while. And then it was like, oh shit, I don't like that. That's uncomfortable. And I thought I could just like put it away in some sense because it was a badge or it was this armor, right? I thought I could just take it off. But the thing is that it's like these layers, right? And so today, in doing this work, instead of those volatile reactions where I don't even understand anything and I'm completely outside myself, to these moments where I'm doing these practices, now it's like I'm just like this observer on the outside of things. And it's not all the time, but it's a good majority of the time. And there's this observation piece where I have a complete choice of what I want to pick up or not. And it feels weird, or it feels like, inviting also too. But, there's these ways that the practices have opened up these opportunities and these abilities for me to make choices that were not even obtainable or even a thought of some, like it was so helpless for me for a very long time, you know? And that's really the gift, is I just get to continue to lean into that and love myself. And then from there, I get to learn how to love myself into like how I want to be out in the world, And then that light shines like this bow here. And that light, that undying light in there just gets to get bigger and brighter. And that's the gift, right? It's just so beautiful. It's like that's the gift.
Mhm. And one of the things as humans, we often seek acceptance outside of ourselves. Yet, if we don't accept ourselves, all parts of ourselves, including the shadow, in spirituality and coaching, I mean, some lean towards the love and light. And I'm just like, I just don't agree with it because I'm like, yes, 100% there is love and light, but if that's all you're willing to see, that's usually when it comes out sideways because you can't bypass the shadow. You can't bypass parts of yourself. And if you try, it's going to come out in a different way. Like I think about growing up in a very strict Jehovah's Witness religion, like I did, and you're told what to wear, who to marry, all these things. It's very compliant based. And if you don't, then you're kicked out. And I saw so much that happened because of the suppression, because of that. Like, for instance, I experienced incest with my father in a religion that's so in a chokehold around sex and sexuality and power and, right and wrong. How could this happen? Like, it's because you resist something. When you resist that, it has all the more power because in resisting it, you think you're pushing it away. You're actually bringing it that much closer. You're actually holding on to it and you're making that a part of your energy because in the resistance, it's again, you're keeping it right there with you. So instead of actually pushing it away, you're going to face it
Manifest.
more and
Yeah.
manifest it more. So again, it's not about glossing over anything. Like, none of us are perfect. We've all done things that are perceptively good, perceptively bad, in the shadow, in the light, all of these things. It's accepting that part of yourself and also accepting the parts of yourself that other people may judge you for, like your past or things that happened and things like that. And it's not taking it on. It's like accepting that about yourself lightens the load because like I was thinking, again, I'm doing a lot of identity work, and I was thinking of like the identities in the Bible. Because again, I grew up super religious, so it pops in my head all these different stories. And I'm thinking, like, okay, we had uh, murderers, adulterers, all different things, and they were the ones that God used. And, you know, I'm not telling you to go murder someone or cheat on your wife or things like that.
Believe us said so.
Exactly. But it's saying that it doesn't matter what your history is. If God can accept you and use you, like, who are you to judge yourself or allow the judgments of others to stop you?
There's ego in that,
Mm-hmm.
and so for me, oh man, I love that you shared that. That is such a huge piece of my awakening for me. Just like that, that's like a form of ego and it needs to be smashed, that forever, playing small piece. Um, but I think it's interesting that you brought that up and then even where kind of like where our world's at today and just that, yeah, just our power really is to be utilized like in ourselves, right? So like that self control, the way that we show up, the way that we connect, and then from there being able to pour out into the world, right? And there's like such a beauty in that, but there's a balance, you know? And I think it's all like it's beautiful, like to understand, like when I'm praying and I'm doing these prayers, like with my higher power, I'm praying to myself. I'm praying. I'm praying to the. I know it wouldn't come out, but I'm praying to this inner piece of me, this God piece in me that exists in you, that exists in everyone. And there's such a beauty in that understanding and that connection, and then that also like self responsibility. And I love that. I love that. It makes me excited because I get to show up, right? And then there's also this other like really beautiful piece of just like understanding that your unique experiences and the way that you're able to perceive them and process them and compost that shit literally into light, into that beautiful flower that is reaching towards that light. It's like only you have that. Only I have me. Ain't nobody's gonna do it like me. Ain't nobody gonna be Leva. That's not gonna happen. You know what I mean? And so there's this responsibility in it that gets to be like really exciting, and this really beautiful way of showing up because I'm gonna tell you, some of the hardest times for me to show up or those awkward times where I just feeling like, man, my tail's feeling a little bit between my legs or maybe all the way or whatever. It's in those moments and when I make and I become part of the community and I just share that I end up having the deepest connections and like relativity within my community and within our higher powers, our understandings and our perspectives. None of that gets to happen if I'm not showing up in my authenticity and if I'm not doing the work and if I'm not willing to like to be real, like to get into the reality of the darkness and get out of that fantasy that everything's just okay. It can be okay. Like we're fine. We're ticking. We're breathing. We're eating. We're living. We're laughing. All those fun things. But it's like, but we're going through it. And gladly. There's and so yeah. I just think that there's such like a gift in that rather than a chore, you know?
Yeah.
And And I think there is also, I was touching on that today too with it's going to feel like a chore in the beginning. It's going to feel like a chore. There's going to be adversity. You'll be like, dang it. And like I was gonna go do some work today. I was like, oh, my stomach's kind of hurting. All the symptoms are coming up. I'm like, shut up, Mary, get your ass in there. It is the truth. And it's the truth. And then eventually it starts to become this joy and this part and this motion. And then there's some more shit to walk through. It's just we get to keep showing up. And that's the gift. It really is.
Yeah. It's vulnerable. It's intimate. It's relatable because everyone goes through these things. It's, are you willing to have that soft underbelly seen by others? Are you willing to share? And are you willing to be judged? Because yes, 100%, you're going to be judged. Like, you could be doing everything perceptively perfect, someone's going to judge you. So like, do what you're going to do. And when you're going through, again, these challenges in your life, people may judge you for being fucked up or irresponsible or unhealthy or whatever their lens is, whatever their judgment is, but they're judging you in the rough draft. And the rough draft is not the final version. The rough draft is not where you're going to end up, but it's part of building you. It's part of building that capacity so you can actually get to that final draft. So you can actually get to who you're meant to be, who you're meant to teach or lead or speak to or inspire because you went through that. Like, if you haven't been through anything, you're not inspirational. Like I
Trying
mean,
to be a drug counselor and you're like, I have been never tried it a day in my life. And you're like, well, what are we doing here? Yeah.
exactly. I have a part of my personality that if you can't teach me anything, I don't respect you. Like, it's maybe not the nicest part of my personality, but it's real. I'm like, if you can't teach me anything, I'm like, whatever.
And and this is like, and that's saying a lot because like the spectrum of being able to be taught is like, there's not an age limit. There's not any sex, gender, creed, none of that sort of shit. It's literally like, I that's so funny you say that because I find that valuable as mine. I hear you. I hear.
Like, I mean, like a simple analogy, if someone is trying to, like, is a weight loss counselor and they've been a size 2 their whole life, it's like, okay.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh. Sorry, child.
Realize. But the reason we can talk to you about these things is because we've been through them. We continue to go through things. We continue to evolve. We continue to learn. We continue to grow. And that growth, I mean, it's literally shown in the body. It's called growing pains for a reason. In that stretch, it does not feel good.
That's why my tummy hurt.
Exactly. Your body's like, hey, we're going to get into some stuff right now. So.
No, and that's like the beautiful thing is that I guess so for me recently, so this week was Onyx's birthday. He turned 9 and it's just like it's such a big deal, right? And for me there's like it's such a reflection time. And I love that. But even in like the beginning of my journey and a lot of my postpartum issues that I had to get through. And but I would get cyclical vomiting. And anytime that I would have these panic attacks, it would just, I mean, it was like a year and a half of being like in and out of the hospital and stuff. It was really like scary, honestly. And I'm just like sticking in this work and stuff. And so I love like when I went to go see my teacher today, and she, you know, and that's why she's like a different woman walking in the room. But there's just, it's consistently consistent, right? And it's not like I never experienced, like I was just saying, like I have a tummy ache, you know? So it's like a tell sign. It's like I do get like a little tiny tummy ache sometimes, like when I am experiencing things and I need to like process and I need to go do some work. But it's like that from literally cyclical vomiting and being like put in the hospital like for a couple days to be stabilized, like repetitively, you know, not having a choice. You know, there's just like these really beautiful ways of sticking in the work. And I'm just going to be honest, like most people don't want to do it and most people won't. A lot of people just get comfortable. But if you're in this and you're in the work, you know, then there's like this huge invitation to continue. And if we're talking to you and this is like, and you haven't been in the work and you're like, oh, and like nerves are being touched, like I invite you into that, you know, because we all get to like find our tribe, like our people and our ways of connecting in this world. And the ways that I've really found, you know, incredible healing is like that, you know, I used to think I was so unique and separate or whatever from everybody else, like this like wandering, like I don't know, wandering wanderer. And but then like the more I reach out and the more I connect and the more I find myself in others, or I'm introduced to these different I love modalities, and I love learning from these ancient techniques and all these different breathing practices, and there's so many things out there, right? And there's just all these beautiful ways of connecting. And since it's like I've got these little like tethers of light, I've got my little light strings just out there, and I'm like, you know, there's this wholeness in that. There's a responsibility. There's a purpose. There's curiosity. There's all these different perspectives. There's trust and camaraderie and reciprocity. There's all these really beautiful things that get invited in, but it doesn't exist otherwise. You know, it doesn't mean that it's like the world's going to come crashing in and you know all, but you're depriving yourself of all of the others, right? It's like you have a choice.
Yeah. So again, just to acknowledge if you are experiencing challenges, if you're experiencing chaos in your life, spiritual warfare, all of those different things, congratulations. That means you're doing something right. And that means that you are going in the right direction and you're being seen by the light and the dark. So just keep going, just keep doing the work, and keep that in mind that, again, if you weren't being challenged, that means you're not doing the work. So
Complacency.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, if you're not growing, you're dying. So it's a choice.
And just to be very clear, like nobody makes it out of life alive. But how do you want to get through that? You know what I'm saying? Like,
like slowly over years, or you know.
yeah. Or is it just like chaos? I want to actually share on that really quick. I just, there has been an incredible amount of loss lately, and it's like almost like be careful what you ask for things, right? Because when I lost my dog, it was my second year of recovery. I was like, there's no way I can live without this guy. How is this going to happen? And I was just carried through the situation. But I'm not even going to lie, I was like a blubberhead for like a year, and I was like, dude, not that he didn't mean the whole world to me and all the things, but it's like, how do I get through death a little better? Because like I've never really experienced walking through grief, because that wasn't something I was ever taught. It was like, just don't talk about it. No emotions, you know? And so it's interesting to walk through those like grief thing practices. And also, so I'm telling you, be careful what you ask for, because now, since then, I've experienced incredible, I can't even put a number out there, amounts of death, right? But here's the beautiful experience recently that I've been able to be a part of, right? There's been a lot of trauma. There's been a lot of really hard ways that I've lost people, or that people have left the world, I should say. It's not all about me, but it is. But I've lost people to, or here we go, the world. But OD, suicide, addiction, car crashes and addiction as well. Just really horrible murder, horrible things, right? And then there's also this really beautiful way that I've been able to experience people leaving this world. And it's people that have been teachers to me and mentors to me. They were old timers and had incredible recovery, and they worked their programs, and they stuck in the practices, their meditation, and just this beautiful growth process that life offers, this spiritual nonlinear process, right? And so I've got to experience them leaving this earth in this incredible light, held in this bubble of community, and people just showing up, like literally lifting their spirits into their transformation process, right? And so that's what I'm trying to get across, is like there's choices in it all. And like life isn't easy. It's not like the people that passed recently didn't experience pain in their death or even fear. There's these things that it's life, right? But how do you want to leave your mark? How do you want your light to transcend? Like, what is that how do you want to leave that, right? And if you're cool, then I'm no judgment. Do your thing, you know? But if you really, if what we're saying sparks this little piece in you, because it literally, I could be on like a high horse about this for a minute, but it's like, then reach out, and do the work, because it's like it's here, and it's really, really incredible to be a part of. And that's where like the light gets to exist in the dark, not the dark consuming.
Mhm. Yeah. And I mean, again, with the Bible today, it says, God said, let there be light. So the dark was already there. So it's not ignoring it, it's not judging it, it's letting the light in. And that means growing through it. So we're glad to be growing through it with you.
Yes. So, do you feel like you have anything else that you want to add on, Leva, or end with, anyways?
Okay, keeps poking in my head. Again, we're doing the Bible today. So I tried to forget it for so many years, and then I was
It won't
resisting it.
leave me alone today.
Exactly. So there's the parable of the three individuals who were given talents, these gold talents to do work with. And two of them actually went ahead and grew their talents. And one of them actually buried his. So there was no loss, but he buried it. So when these three individuals came back to the person in charge, the other two, they said, I grew this much. The other one was like, I grew this much. And then the one who had buried his, he's like, I didn't lose anything, I buried it. And the idea of that is that that talent, the one that was buried, the one that didn't do anything with what he was given, that talent got taken away. That gold got taken away. So if there is something that you've been given, a gift, a talent, speaking, inspiration, teaching, whatever you're meant to do on this planet, if you're not doing it, that can be taken away from you. So it's just again an invitation of, okay, just just a little check. Am I using my gifts? Am I using my talents? Am I using all the pieces like that I've went through, grown through? I mean, for me, it's, incorporating some of the things I learned in the Bible. I'm not in that particular religion, but all of those different pieces, they're there for a reason. You went through those experiences for a reason. You grew through all these things and are continuing to grow through because it's for a reason. So it's not to, again, ignore that or not use what you're given or growing through or resisting it. It's again, it's for a reason. So using that gold, that talent, that gift, because it's there for a reason. So that's just the invitation of, is there something that you've been ignoring or resisting or not wanting to grow through? Um, yeah, maybe a little reality check.
Maybe a little. Just
Yes, yes. Yeah, be willing to use it all. Use your past, use the religion, use your childhood, use current experiences. All of that is a divine tapestry for who you're meant to be, what you're meant to lead. Again, the challenges, the gifts, all of these different things, they make up who you are and who you're meant to be. So don't waste any of them.
Yes, I love that. No, yeah,
And
and I think
and my Holy Week sermon.
no, it is so funny because we both, we're very free in our spiritual understanding. And also, like, I mean, I come from a Catholic background. I mean, girl, I was, it's like we have that similar biblical upbringing. And I think, like you say, like, I, there's golden nuggets in it, literally. And and then there was also like this beautiful piece of like, if I'm afraid or whatever, adverse, or I wish I had like the pony instead of the snake or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, I was like, there's like this piece of that makes who you are in your understanding, like it doesn't have to like you're not consumed by that or whatever, but there's like this beautiful piece of like it being part of how you perceive yourself in the world, and nobody else has it. It's like a fingerprint. It's like,
Yes.
yeah. So
And your soul doesn't judge you. Your soul came here to experience, and that means experience it all, not just the light, fluffy popsicle things, like all the things. So if your soul's not judging it, maybe you should stop judging yourself.
yeah, judgment's just a perception. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
like just it's like weeds. Like it's literally like it's just an unwanted flower in an obscure place. Like there's, it's there. Yeah, it's hilarious. Perspectives. No, I really appreciate everybody like checking in and being part of this, and um, yeah, just I honor you and where you're at in your journey, and the fact that you are showing up, and cheers. You know what I mean? It's it's where it's, I mean, it's like, it's where we get to learn to roll and have fun with it, you know? So I
Yes.
welcome y'all to the laughter part. But
Yes.
I hope you all
Yes.
have a beautiful day.
Yes. Have a beautiful weekend. Have a check-in with yourself where you are. And yeah, maybe you see it from your soul's perspective.
Ooh,
And
I had this little homework assignment and I liked it and I thought maybe ooh. But when you just said that check in with yourself, but I was like told to check in with myself and like put like different level, like, you know, mentally, physically, blah, 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 blah. So put all the categories in there and just kind of like give yourself like a soft like grade in there and like where you know, like where you could possibly like show up for yourself, you know? And then just like it's like a check, yeah, like a little check-in, but it's really great to be able to see like different perspectively, like maybe we self-care is really good, but maybe we're just like sitting in the bathtub all day and then like that means it's not good, right? So I don't think you're really sitting in the bathtub all day, you'd be a prune. But like that's the idea, is just like, hey, sometimes shop therapy is great, but if you're like shopping till like and you're not paying your bills, it's also not great. So you know what I mean? It's like really doing that firm check-in and being able to be like accountable with ourselves in a loving and caring way, and then gently holding ourselves accountable and like allowing that like spiritual discipline into our lives. So good luck with that.
awareness is not so
You
have at it, have fun, and we will see you next time.
Adios.